When you look at entrepreneurship, is this something that can be taught?
Stephanie, I get asked that question an awful lot. And it's a little bit unfair to ask that question of an educator. I'm a professor, so of course I believe that something can be taught. But the real answer is the same answer to the question, can you teach dance, for example? And you scratch your head and say, well, of course you can teach dance. Not everybody will be a Baryshnikov necessarily, or Nureyev, but of course you can teach people how to dance. The most significant element of the equation, not the only one, is that you really, really want to learn. If an entrepreneur, just like someone learning how to dance, wants to learn badly enough to be an entrepreneur, it may take a little bit longer, but I think almost everybody can learn if they want to badly enough. Now let's say the desire, the urge to learn entrepreneurship is there, then I think there are several components that are really important. One component is the nuts and bolts. Let's get that out of the way, the mechanics of being an entrepreneur. The finance, the operations, the marketing, the sales, which I think, by the way, are extremely critical. Learning how to sell, because entrepreneurs are always selling. The negotiating skills, these are called the nuts and bolts, and those you don't have to go to school for, but you can really accelerate the process in school to learn the nuts and bolts. A second, you need stories, especially the way I define entrepreneurship as, in a sense, going against the market-defined conventional wisdom. It's really important to have lots of examples of people who have actually done it, who have, in a sense, boggled your mind by creating value and capturing it where the market thought it was impossible to do so. So it's really important to have very rich, detailed, meaningful case studies and stories. That's what I developed for my course at the Harvard Business School called International Entrepreneurship. It was a portfolio of a couple dozen stories of entrepreneurs from Slovenia to Japan to Brazil. So stories are a second important. Third is practice, both a method and a place to practice. And Babson has really been pioneering what we call entrepreneurial thought and action, a big element of which is practicing actually trying to do something. If you think you have an idea, is there a way that you can try it out in a safe environment, make mistakes, learn from those mistakes? So practice is essential, and that is relatively hard to do in the classroom, but there's no reason that formal educational programs can't foster that. For example, at Babson, we have a required course of all first-year students, undergraduates, that they actually form a company. That's what we call practice. You're practicing how to be an entrepreneur. And a fourth important element is getting advice, learning from coaches or mentors, people who are more experienced. Some of them could be peers that are doing it, and you can share know-how. And some could be people who, so-called graybeards or gray hairs, the people with experience. I just participated for several days in an amazing forum. It's called the MIT Venture Mentoring Service, VMS, which is for 12 years. They have a core of 150 highly selected, very experienced mentors who donate 1 to 2 days a month to help aspiring entrepreneurs think about their ideas, put them together, solve various problems. And this is all on a pro bono basis. So those four elements, I think, well, first, the desire to learn. Second, the stories. Third, the mechanics, the nuts and bolts. Fourth, a place and an environment to practice. And fifth, the mentoring. I think those things you can go very, very far in learning how to be an entrepreneur.